second part. Yai nai nai, yai nai nai, yai nai, yai nai nai, yai nai nai, yai nai nai, yai nai, yai nai nai, yai nai nai, yai nai nai, yai nai, yai nai nai, yai nai nai, yai nai nai nai. From the top. Yai nai nai nai, yai nai nai nai, yai nai, yai nai nai. Page 142, we'll continue with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem, Boachem Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni, Baruchuni Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Teitchem Leshalom, Malachei Ashalom, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
So first, a cautionary tale. As I was telling John Silver, I made dinner tonight. I made a lentil curry thing with serrano chilies. And I guess I didn't wash my hands enough because I just rubbed my eye. So don't do that. For those that came tonight hoping for more commentary or an explanation about the community event this Sunday with Pierre Polyev, I'm not going to be speaking about that on Shabbat. I've been dealing with it all week, and Shabbat is a sanctuary for rabbis too. Happy to listen and respond on Sunday after the program, as I'll be doing with our Kehilatenu group in a listening circle. But for me right now, TGIS. Thank God it's Shabbos. We have much to celebrate this evening. Lauren and Jonathan, who grew up here, Jonathan grew up here and was bar mitzvahed here in our synagogue. They are celebrating an Ufruf. They'll stand together beneath the chuppah next weekend, and as will become obvious, this incredible couple that has been together for 6 years is also about to welcome a child. So it is a double mitzvah. Super exciting. Also, Zachary is having his bar mitzvah, the first for his family, and we're so excited for you, Zachary, to be called to Torah tomorrow morning. Your mom and dad are also reading Torah, so that's a triple mitzvah, or as we say in Canada, a hat trick. And of course, 8 hostages were reunited with their families yesterday, and we anticipate 3 more in actually just the next few hours, God willing, to celebrate and to be thankful for. And for all of the other reasons that we come to synagogue on Shabbat, for those that are joy-filled and for those that are sorrow-filled, we're glad that we are here together. So politics can wait. Shabbat is here. Thank God. We're going to continue with the lighting of the Shabbos candles, and we want to invite Edie and Tyla and Marianne, Estelle and Carmen to come and lead us in a reading and then the lighting of the Shabbos candles. So we'll come first to the podium here to read. Oh, I think we're going to need a box. Hang on a sec. Wait 1 second. Everybody take a step back. Take a step back. Wait. Okay, hop up on there. Oh, we're gonna need another box. Wait, I got another one. Take a step off. There we go. You're so tall now.
I'm good.
Hey, it works now.
Yeah.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Beautiful. Can you hop off of that?
Okay.
Let's go over there and we'll light the candles. Should I stand on here? What do you think? Too much?
Yes. Hold up there. Oh, that's not fair.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. So we'll start with our Kabbalat Shabbat service, page 130. It's a series of psalms that are aimed at transitioning us from the week into Shabbat and getting us into the Shabbat headspace. Whatever else has been going on in your week, we'll join together in these words. Lechu neranena. Lechu neranena. Adonai, Nariya, Letzor Ishenu, Nekadma Fanav, Betoda, Bizmirat, Nariya, Lo Yanalai. Page 131, fourth to last line, Ya'aloz Sadai. This prayer is actually talking about how the fields will rejoice and all of the trees are going to shout for joy, praising God, which is kind of fun because we just entered the month of Shvat, the Hebrew month where we celebrate Tu B'Shvat, which is the new year of the trees, the birthday of the trees, all of the above. It's about trees. Ya'aloz Sadai. Ya'aloz Sadai. Bechol asher bo Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 ay. Ya'aloz Sadai. Bechol asher bo Ya'aloz Sadai. Ay, 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 ay. Az yeranenu kol atzei az yeranenu kol עצי יער יעלו שדי, וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי. איי 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 יעלו שדי, וכל אשר בו יעלו שדי. איי 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 איי. We'll continue page 134 with Zamru Ladonai, singing with our voices together. It goes like this. Zamru Ladonai bechinor, bechinor b'kol zimra. Zamru Ladonai bechinor, bechinor b'kol zimra. Zamru, zamru Ladonai. Zamru, zamru Ladonai. Zamru Ladonai bechinor, bechinor b'kol zimra. Zamru Ladonai bechinor, bechinor b'kol zimra. Page 138, Lecha Dodi. Oh, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Oh, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 1. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, ishmianu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet v'litila. Oh, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Oh, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lecho v'nelcha, ki mekor haberacha. Merosh mikedem nesucha, sof maaseh b'machshava tchila. Oh, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Oh, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 3. Mikdash melech ir melucha, kumitei mitoch hafacha. Rav lach shevet b'mekabacha, ve'u yachamol alayich chemla. Oh, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Oh, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Verse 5. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki va'orech kumi ori. Uri, uri, shir daberi, kevod Adonai alayich chigla. Oh, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Oh, lecha dodi likrat kala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. We'll rise and face the entrance for the final verse. Boi v'shalom ateret vala, gam besimcha u'v'tzola, toch
remain standing for a little bit, so if you get tired, you can please sit down. But I want to invite our bride and groom, Lauren and Jonathan, to join me on the bimah with the cantor so that we can give them a blessing before they go to Huppah next weekend. This ritual is called an ufruf. It means it's Yiddish for celebration, and it's an opportunity for the entire community to celebrate the bride and groom without having to be invited to the wedding. So that's, the rabbis in their infinite wisdom came up with this so as to save on catering, I think. So. Come stand right here, guys. Jonathan and Lauren, it is such a pleasure to stand here in this moment and to look forward with anticipation to next weekend in Whistler as you stand beneath the chuppah. That will be a symbol of your home together, but you have already created a home together. You've created a home not only in its physicality, but in its spirituality as well. To be present and to be loving and supportive of each other, to integrate your lives and your families together. Jonathan, we think particularly of your father, who was such a part of this congregation. Your mom is here, and he looks down from heaven. He shefs nachas on this moment. And Lauren, we hope that your family, too, is tuning in online and will feel the joy that we feel for the two of you and soon the three of you. And so we give you this blessing. Mishaberach avotenu Avraham Yitzchak v'Yaakov v'imotenu Sarah Rivka b'Chel v'Leah hu yivarech et hatan v'et hakala. May God, who blessed the men and women of Israel in every generation, bless this bride and this groom. Guide them on life's journey. May their marriage be a joy and a good example to all who know them. May they fashion a Jewish home worthy of praise, a secure refuge where they find tranquility during all of their days together. May the love of this couple inspire and bless their family and their friends and the entire community of Israel. And we say together, Amen.
Amen.
And we give you this blessing.
Adonai ve'yishmerecha.
Ken Yehi Ratzon, may God bless you and keep you.
Yaher Adonai panav elecha v'yichuneka.
Ken Yehi Ratzon, may God's face shine upon you and be kind to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shalom.
Ken Yehi Ratzon. Lauren and Jonathan, may God always be with you through all of life's journeys. Grant you the greatest blessing of all, that of wholeness and completion. The blessing of shalom, of peace, and a world and a home and a family filled with peace. And we say together, Amen.
Amen.
And Mazel Tov.
Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov. Yelanu, 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 ulechol Yisrael. Yelanu, yelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yelanu, yelanu, ulechol Yisrael. Yelanu, yelanu, ulechol Yisrael.
We're going to remain standing a little bit longer. We're going to turn to page 263 for Chatzi Kaddish, and as we do, we invite Zachary to come up for his wedding. No, not his wedding. His bar mitzvah. Zachary, come on up here and help to lead the rest of our service. Page 263, Chatzi Kaddish.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה, בעלמא נברא חירותי וימליך מלכותי, בחייכות וביומכות ובחיי דכל בית ישראל. בגלה בגלה ובזמן קריב ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ולעלמי עמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשא בריחו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה Damiran be'alma ve'immeru. Amen.
Turn around for the Baruch Hu.
Baruch Hu Adonai Hamavora.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated.
Baruch
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidbaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach sharim, uvitvuna meshane etim, umhalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakohavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirsono, borei yom halayla, golei or mifnei hoshe, v'hoshe mifnei or, avir yom uvi laila, vadel ben yom uven laila, Adonai zevaot shemo. El chai v'kayom, tamid limlo chalenu leolam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Amen.
Page 266, Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam Beit Yisrael amahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mashmitim otanu lemadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shofenu uv'komenu nasiach bechukecha ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם לעולם ועד כי הם חיינו ואורך יומנו ובהם נגע יומם ולילה ואהבת אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך ובשרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות להם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 270, we sing a song of redemption, Mi Chamocha.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה ומרים. זלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed v'ne'emar ki par Adonai et Yaakov ugelo mi'ad chazak mimenu Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom leshalom V'ha'amidenu shomreinu lechaim Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Amen Baruch atah Adonai haporeh sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim.
So I spoke at the beginning about TGIS, thank God it's Shabbos. And I think that if we're going to appreciate something, then we need to make it sacred and holy. We need to separate it and elevate it. Or maybe because it's separated and elevated, we can appreciate it. And so Vishamru, which the cantor is about to lead us in, speaks about guarding and protecting the Sabbath. We think sometimes of Shabbat as being the purview of maybe the most religious, of those that walk to synagogue with black hat and fringes on, that don't use a car, those kinds of things. But Shabbos is for everyone, and certainly for everyone within the Jewish community. But it's weird, we have to make Shabbos. It doesn't just happen, right? Resting requires actual effort. Setting of sound around boundaries around our activities and our obligations requires a little bit of work so that we can actually marinate in the sanctity of the moment. And so how do you guard and protect your Sabbath? Do you have a Sabbath? Can you create one even in this instant, in this bubble of time that we have just before us now? The weather might cooperate, it might snow tomorrow, they say, and maybe that'll keep some of us in. Not anybody for the bar mitzvah, you should come. But maybe that'll keep some of us home, and we can use that time not to catch up on work of the day or of the week, but the work of the soul. Vishamru, we should keep and guard the Sabbath to make it holy. So how will you keep and guard and set bounds around to create holy time? We can think on that as our cantor leads us in this prayer of a Sabbath rest and Shabbat Kedusha, Shabbos holiness as well.
V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam berit olam Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael Oti leolam Yam barai Shabbat Shabbat Yam barai Shabbat Shabbat Yam barai Shabbat 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 Shalom Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz u'bayom hashvi Shabbat v'inafash, Shabbat v'inafash. Yam barai Shabbat, Shabbat, Yam barai Shabbat, Shabbat, Yam barai Shabbat, 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 Shalom.
We'll rise the Amidah, page 273.
Adonai sfatai tiftach Adonai sfatai tiftach Ufi agid tehilatecha Ufi agid tehilatecha.
Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elokei Avraham Elokei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rahel, Elohei Leah. Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'Koneh Hakol, V'Zocher Hasei Avot V'Imahot, U'Mevii Geulah Livnei Bneihem, L'man Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיים מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומרעיד הגשם, מחלחל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, סומך נופים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים. ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גברו ומדומך לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יעללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Amen. Please be seated. We continue, page 279 with Ritzeh.
רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם באהבה תקבל, ותהי לרצון תמיד עבודת ישראל. ישראל עמך קרוב לכל קורב, פני אל עבדיך וחוננו, שפוך רוחך עלינו, ותחזינה עינינו, בשובך לציון. ברחמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, המחזיר שכינתו לציון, לציון.
We take a moment for our own private prayers of gratitude and appreciation for the blessings in our life.
ועל כולם, ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם, יתברך ויתרומם, שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד, וכל החיים יודוך הסלע, ויהללו את שמך באמת, האל ישועתנו ועזרתנו, עזרתנו סלע. ועל כולם, ועל כולם יתברך ויתרומם, יתברך ויתרומם, שמך מלכנו תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, הטוב שמך, הטוב שמך, ולך נאה להודות.
I think most Hebrew school students could tell you that the word shalom has at least 3 meanings to it, right? Hello. What's the other one? Goodbye. And the third is peace. It also has at its root, because Hebrew is a triliterate root, so 3 letters of a Hebrew word form a root that can be used in other words. Shalem, which means wholeness or completeness. And so the absence of peace has something to do with a piece, here P-I-E-C-E, missing from something. When we think about what it takes to make peace, just like when we think about what it takes to make Shabbos, it doesn't just happen, right? We have to make it and create it. And so what is the missing piece of peace? Or more specifically, what is your missing piece in helping to create or make peace in your lives or in your community, in your family, in your world, in our world? When we think about it that way, we all have a piece of the puzzle. Here I'm using piece in lots of different ways. We all have a piece of the puzzle. That piece that is missing from peace may be inside each of us. And that when we can bring that piece of peace to a family dynamic, to a workplace situation, to a relationship, even to our greater society, we can be makers of peace just by bringing our little piece to it. We'll continue with a prayer for peace, page 282.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki ata melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. V'tov beinecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol eit ubechol shah bishlomecha. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael amcha tasim leolam. Tasim leolam. Tasim leolam.
We'll take a moment for our own private prayers and meditations.
So there's a prayer way at the end of the book on page 643. That's a teaching from Reb Nachman of Breslov. Pretty popular, you may have heard it before. That says, Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, v'ha'ikar lo lefached klal. The entire world is a narrow bridge. The most important thing is not to be afraid. This is a beautiful setting of that melody by Yosef Goldman that I think is just an enduring message for many times, but certainly for our world today. It goes like this. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, kol ha'olam hu gesher tzar, kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, kol ha'olam hu gesher tzar, kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, kol ha'olam hu gesher. One more time. Kol ha'olam kulo gesher tzar me'od, kol ha'olam hu gesher v'ha'ikar, 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 lo לפחד כלל, לא לפחד, והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד כלל, לא לפחד. כל העולם, כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, כל העולם הוא גשר צר, כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, כל העולם הוא גשר, והעיקר, 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 לא לפחד כלל, לא לפחד, והעיקר, והעיקר, לא לפחד כלל, לא לפחד. One more time. כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, כל העולם הוא גשר צר, כל העולם כולו גשר צר מאוד, כל העולם הוא גשר.
We come to a point in our service where we offer prayers for healing for those who are sick and in need of healing, and then prayers for the hostages that they might be returned home safely, and those still in captivity might know of our prayers for them and draw strength from that. We ask God's blessing of healing upon Panina and Rezo and Marie Field, Dov Ber Nachman Ben Pesha, Linda Grant, Barry Lynn Stanley, Corinne Tapley, Jack Karp, Mark Tapley, Arslan Ilisov, Yossi Shemesh, Rose Muchnick, Yosefa Bat Chava Mordechai, Joel Greenberg, Natalie Schechter, Jerry Schechter, Rosa Tessler Mabe, Miriam Friedberg, Sonia Ratke, Kevin Pepper, Maury Dozer, Sherry Fiedler, Marina, Virginia Edwards, Natalie Wormelli, Claire Golumbia, Carla Zivit, Janet Gelb, David Shlomo Gorney. If there are others in need of this prayer for healing, I invite you to stand and call their names out one by one. Tony? Susan Mishler. We join with our cantor in a prayer for healing, the Misha Berach, page 371.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Mekor HaBracha Le'imo gain the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mi shebera imotenu mekol habraha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
An ancient prayer that is far too relevant in today's time. Achenu, a prayer for the captives. It's on the front cover of your handout and on the screens behind us.
Achenu kol beit Yisrael, Achenu kol beit Yisrael, hanetonim betzara, betzara ubashivya, ahomdim ben bayam uben bayam basha. Achenu. Achenu kol beit Yisrael, Achenu kol beit Yisrael, hanetonim betzara, betzara ubashivya, haomdim ben bayam uben bayam basha. Amakom yerachem, yerachem aleichem, veyotziem mitzara, lirvacha, umeyafel aleora, umeshiba ligeula ashta, bagala ubizman karim. Achenu kol beit Yisrael, Achenu kol beit Yisrael, hanetonim betzara, betzara ubashivya, haomdim ben bayam uben bayam basha.
May they come home soon and safely. A few announcements this evening. Lots going on at the synagogue. Services tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. for Zachary. We're excited to call you to Torah. Religious school on Sunday morning. And of course, those that have signed up, you've received information about the event Sunday afternoon here at the synagogue. Next weekend, we have on Friday night is our Tu B'Shvat family Shabbat service. Come at 5:45 for dinner and 6:30 for the service. It's going to be a wonderful time. Please sign up online. Later on that weekend, on Saturday night, the 8th, is our Shabbat Shirah concert. And actually, that whole weekend is a Shabbos of music.
That's right.
Cantor Cohen, you want to share anything about it?
So Friday night next week, we're going to have our vocal ensemble singers as part of Shabbat services. Saturday morning, Joyce Cherry is going to be playing piano, and there'll be some extra music and singing. We did the Micha Mocha prayer, so that part of the Torah is what we're going to be singing, the Song of the Sea, chanting it during the Torah service. And then Saturday night, please join us for a very fun concert of musical theater and some classical music and some jazz and all kinds of things with me and Wendy Bross Stewart here Saturday night. We'll start with some snacks, like a happy hour beforehand at 7 o'clock.
Fun. Mm-hmm. And then on Sunday, February 9th, in the morning, we have a Zoom conversation, myself, Rabbi Brown, and Yossi Klein Halevi, who is our resident scholar. He's still in Israel. He'll be with us in the spring, but we're going to get an update from him. Rabbi Brown will just be back from her fellowship in Israel, so join us online for that. The Super Bowl, of course, is that day as well. But if you're not doing the Super Bowl, if you want to ship the kids out, also, our BYO Junior is going to laser tag that afternoon. It says February 5th here, but it really means the 9th. That's at 5 o'clock next Sunday. There's a whole bunch of other stuff going on. You can read about it in your handout. The only thing I want to point out, in addition, is that I'm leading a mission to Israel to bear witness and to help rebuild the people and the land. And that's in May 11th through the 16th. We need about 4 more people to make the trip go, which is not too many. The price has been reduced by $500 US, which by the end of this weekend could be like $1,000 Canadian, God forbid. But I hope that you'll consider joining me in Israel for that mission. It's 5 days. You can extend before or after. I've been to Israel twice since October 7th, and I've never been to Israel before, honestly, because of how different it is now. It's important to be there, and I hope that you'll consider joining me for that. Okay, my sermon's down there, so I'm going to come down there. So again, Shabbat Shalom. This week's Torah portion is Parshat Bo, and it's certainly one of the most dramatic and relevant Torah portions in our Torah, stories in our Torah. To remind you where we are in the Exodus story, 7 plagues have struck Egypt. The people are suffering. Several times Pharaoh seems to soften, only then to harden his heart again. And now we've reached the sort of the tipping point where now God seems to be maybe punishing Pharaoh by hardening Pharaoh's heart, even if Pharaoh might be inclined to soften, but really he's not. During this 7th plague that we read about this week, we have the plague of hail. And he even seems to admit, Pharaoh does, his mistake in this moment. So Pharaoh summons Moses into Pharaoh's chamber with Aaron and says to them, "This time," Pharaoh says this time I, Pharaoh, I have sinned. The Lord is the right, and I and my people are in the wrong." But as soon as the plague is over, what does Pharaoh do? Well, what Pharaoh has done 7 times prior to that, Pharaoh changes Pharaoh's mind and hardens his heart. He and his officials say that the Torah hardened their hearts. And now Moses and Aaron have come to warn of further plagues. They come to Pharaoh and they say potentially devastating plagues are to come. A plague of locusts that they say will devour all of the grain that is left after the hail, as well as all the fruit of the trees. And for the first time, we hear something that we have not heard yet in this story of plagues in Egypt. Pharaoh's own advisors now start to tell him that they think he is making a huge mistake and that he should soften and let those people go. Pharaoh's officials say to him, "How long will this man," meaning Moses, "be a snare to us? Let the people go so that they may worship their Lord, their God. Do you not realize that Egypt is ruined?" I look back at how I framed this incident last year on this Shabbat. This is the advantage of having files. And I can easily give the sermon that I gave last year for this Shabbos this year. Sometimes I do that, and if I don't remember giving it, you won't remember hearing it. But I'm not doing that tonight. But it's worth noting that in 2024, just a year ago, the lesson that leapt off the pages from me, and remember, Torah is the same every time, but we're different every time we look at it. So different lessons come up in the context of our lives. The lesson that leapt off the pages then is sadly still just as relevant today. Pharaoh's ego, his hubris, his narcissism blind him to this sound advice from his advisors, this sound advice of those that have the greatest interest or the greater interest of the nation and not the Pharaoh as their chief concern. Now, our own experience of watching a similar authoritarian ruler or rulers confirms that those drunk on power are often surrounded by sycophants and enablers that are attracted to the powerful like a flower turns towards the sun. Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, in his commentary on this parsha, which I think I left pages in my printer. You won't be able to get them? I'm just going to make it up as I go. Wow, that's interesting. Okay. Okay. Where was I? Interesting. Okay, we'll go with that. So Rabbi Jonathan Sachs, in his commentary on this parsha, makes a connection to historian Barbara Tuchman's famous book called The March of Folly. But as I said earlier in the service, enough about politics for this Shabbat. There is a deeper and I think much more useful lesson from this week's siddur. The great Hasidic master, Rabbi Yaakov Yitzhak, taught that, and he's also known, by the way, as the Yehudi HaKodesh, the Holy Jew. I never get a cool nickname like that as a rabbi. I get Rabbi Dan. I don't get the Holy Jew. It'd be awesome. So Rabbi Yehudi proposes a reading of the story far removed from the realm of political revolutions. The Yehudi imagines Pharaoh challenging Moses over his understanding of spirituality in worship. And as Moses begins to prepare his people to leave, just before Pharaoh hardens the heart of Moses, before Pharaoh hardens his heart, Moses demands that the Israelites be allowed to take their cattle and livestock with them so that they may make sacrifices and worship God in the desert during their journey to the promised land. Pharaoh responds with a question. Is it possible to worship God only in thought and not in feeling? So if in truth you really desire to worship God, what do you need your flocks and your herds for? Go and worship your God with an upright heart and pure intentions. You won't need to make any sacrifices then. That's where my sermon left off. No, it's okay, Levi. Don't worry about it. And then I think what I wrote after that is that what Pharaoh is trying to, or what the Yehudi is trying to teach here, is that we actually need both reason and action, or spirituality and action, in order to anchor these things. That what we learn from this is Pharaoh is saying to Moses, well, just go do it. Right? You don't need the cows to make sacrifices with. You can just believe in these things, and then why would you need to take the cows with you for sacrifices? But Moses' interpretation and his answer to Pharaoh is an answer to us in this time also, which is that no, we need both. We need the ritual and the ritual object. We need the doing as well as the believing. Now there's a debate in Jewish tradition as whether believing leads to doing or doing leads to believing. But my experience, and I think yours as well, has been that we always need both. And that we can't actually rely upon one to lead to the other, that we need to do both things. And maybe the best example of this is saying a blessing before you eat. I don't know how many of you do this on a regular basis. I've been doing it since I was a child. And in the context of saying a motzi, let's say, before we eat, it brings that meal to a spiritual level that we don't get if we just sit down and scarf down our food. And so at the same time, though, without the blessing and just doing the eating, it is empty and, I think, without a sense of sanctity. But to do the blessing and not to then follow it up with the action is sometimes just empty words. We do that in prayer often, right? We sit here and we read the words on the prayer book page, but we then don't follow up and do the things that we talked about. I mentioned earlier before that we prayed about peace. But how often do we go out and actually make peace, be the bringers of peace in the world? And so what was a very erudite sermon is going to be boiled down into just this, because I don't remember all of what I wrote in such a really greatly crafted argument. We have to do Jewish in order to feel the benefits of being Jewish. And I would say that's true of any religion. It rhymes nicely with Jewish, to do Jewish. But it's true about really any spiritual intention. You want to set about going to the gym. Thinking about it doesn't get you to the gym necessarily, but doing it, going to the gym, will change your behaviors ultimately. And if that going to the gym becomes, as it often does in doing it, on a higher spiritual plane, it becomes the kind of thing that you start to build boundaries around and make fences around and set in your schedule and time. Well, now we've elevated it to a spiritual level. So we could talk about politics for this parsha. It lends itself well to a discussion of authoritarianism and narcissism. I did that last year. But it lends itself even more importantly to how we live our daily lives, to finding sanctity in not only the words that we say, but the actions that we do, and mending and blending those things together so that we are a whole construct of a spiritual being, both in our thoughts and in our deeds. Shabbat Shalom. The benefit of not printing out the last 8 pages, it was a little shorter than it was going to be. So that's the first time I've done that in a long time. Not the first time I've ever done that, but the first time in a long time. We're going to continue. Page 586 will rise for Elena.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום בשבות אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד.
Please be seated. A reading before Kadishat Home, the Mourner's Kaddish, page 583. In the rising of the sun and its going down, we remember them. In the blowing of the wind and the chill of winter, we remember them. In the opening of buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. In the blueness of the sky and the warmth of summer, we remember them. In the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of autumn, we remember them. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have joys, we yearn to share. For they are now a part of us as we remember them. And so on this Shabbat, we recall those who died during this past week or these past 30 days, whose families are in the midst of Shiva and Shloshim. As I read the name of your loved one, if you could please rise and remain standing. Esther Brandt, Phyllis Jarrett, Aaron Landa, Jordan Levy Matten, Roshana Lukes, Eugene Trademan. And those for whom the Yortzeit, the anniversary of the death of your loved ones on this Shabbat, if you too could please rise as I read their name. Byron Aceman, Hyman Atnikov, Bajotek Banzi, Cecilia Barber, Ginny Bloom, Samuel Bregman, Edith Brooks, Esther Cantor, Zohara Charbit, Adele Chechik, Ted Cohn, Franco de Rungs, Alfred DeYoung, Edward Dozer, Cecilia Eisenberg, Ronnie Fratkin, Michael Frimmer, Harry Fugman, Bella Gertzog, Ida Goldstein, Annie Columbia, Isaac Goslin, Sella Heller, Debbie Eisen, Jack Kay, Kate Lang, Dr. Alexander Lester, Richard Levine, Francis Malik, Jeanette Miller, Diana Clara May Parnell, Ray Resnikoff, Mary Richmond, Cindy Rodberg, Morris Rose, Sybil Francis Shack, Rebecca Shaffrin, Marshall Silverman, Abe Silverman, Sam Steinman, Sophie Stitz, Daniel Weinstein, Nahum Weisbaum, Gordon Wetstein, Jerry Yates, Michael Young, Lillian Ziff. If there's names that I have missed or mispronounced, if you've come to say Kaddish for any other reason, if you could stand and call those names out one by one. We stand now to join with those that are in mourning and to lend our hearts to theirs. Inviting those who wish to join with the mourners in Kadisha Tome, the Mourner's Cottage, page 598. Yit Gadal, Vit Gadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'alma Divra Chirute, V'amlich Malchute, B'chayachon, V'yomechon, Uv'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala Uv'izman Kariv, V'maru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam U'lamei Almaya, Yit Barach, V'yishtabach, V'yit Pa'ar, V'yit Roman, V'yit Naseh, V'yit Adar, V'yit Aleh, V'yit Alal, Shemei D'Kudisha Brechu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, daminron be'alma v'maru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chaim aleinu v'yalko Yisrael v'maru. Amen. Osei shalom b'romav, hu ya'asei shalom, aleinu v'yalko Yisrael, v'koyosh v'tevel v'maru. Amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn comfort the breed among us, and we say together, Amen. As we come to the conclusion of our service, we want to invite Zachary to come over with the cantor to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi. I want to thank Larry and Tyla Meyer for sponsoring our Oneg Shabbat in honor of Zachary's bar mitzvah. Zachary, you can go right over to Cantor Cohen.
Vayahi Erev, Vayahi Voker Yom Hashishi, Vayahu Hashamayim V'ha'aretz, V'hol Ziva'am, Vayahol Elohim Bayom Hashve'i, Malachto Asher Asa, Vayivarech Elohim Bayom Hashve'i. What?
Keep going. Vaykadesh oto, ki
I forgot what part.
Shabbat mikol melachto,
Asher asa Elohim la'asot. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hicholanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom tehila l'nekaya kodesh, zecher l'tzeyot mitzrayim, ki vanu v'charta, Ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim, Ve'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava uvratzon hichaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha'shabbat.
Amen. L'chaim.
It was the green
Okay. We'll uncover the challah and join together for Motzi.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
It's all yours. You can go share it with your family. Leave this here.
You can leave the Kiddush cup there, Zachary, and take the challah. There you go.
Bring this over to
Bring that to your family.
It's heavy, it's heavy.
And we'll join with our cantor in our closing song, Adon Olam, page 625.
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
Terem Kol,
Yetzir Nivra, Leit Nasa,
Nasa,
B'chetzo Kol, Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam, Ve'acharei Kichlot HaKol, Levado Imloch Nora Adon Olam, Ve'hu Haya, Ve'hu Hoveh, Ve'hu Yeh B'tifara Adon Olam, Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach,
Asher Malach,
B'terem Kol,
Terem Kol,
Yetzir Nivra, Leit Nasa,
Nasa,
V'chefzo Kol, Hazai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam.
Services tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.